Hello and welcome to my channel, the place where I take you on RV tours, campground tours, to hiking destinations, and so much more. So in a previous video, I installed the EcoFlow Delta Pro 3 into my adventure van so that I could spend extended time off-grid. However, the stock roof-mounted 120-volt GE-AC unit is power-hungry, so I decided to install a more power-efficient AC. I considered a 12-volt AC, but that would require running 6-gauge wire from under the chassis to the roof, and it seems that 12-volt ACs may not cool as well as the 120-volt. With this in mind, I decided to try the Furrion Chill Cube Variable Frequency Drive Compressor AC. So in this video today, I'm going to show the installation and then discuss my first impressions using the Furrion Chill Cube. It's important to note that I purchased everything myself, and you'll want to hear my final review as it may not be what you're expecting. Also note that when you purchase the Furrion Chill Cube AC, you also need to purchase the air distribution box for your application, as they are sold separately. I purchased the non-ducted air distribution box for my adventure van. I will include the links for the parts I purchased in the video description. So let's get started. So I rented a lift from Home Depot to help get the AC on and off the roof of the van. So let's go disconnect the power and get started. First, you have to remove the cover. To do that, you have to remove the screws. So there are 2 on each side and 2 underneath the cover. Okay, so let's pop this off. And you can see the additional screws that need to be removed in there. So let's get started. Now that I have the air distribution cover off, I can access the 4 screws that hold the plate over the electrical box. So let's go ahead and remove those. Now that I have that plate off, let's go ahead and remove the 4 screws holding the cover on the electrical box off so that we can expose the wiring inside. Here you can see the wiring. On the right side is the 120-volt wiring. On the left side is the thermostat and the BM Pro control wiring, which is all 12-volt wiring. I'll just tape up the 12-volt wiring as we won't need it. We'll only need the 120-volt wiring. So as you can see, I'm disconnecting all the wires and I am taping up all the 12-volt wires so I don't short out anything. I now have all the wires disconnected, so I'm going to go ahead and remove these 4 bolts that have the AC connected to the brackets. So I've just got the last bolt out, so you can see now that the AC unit is loose and ready to be removed. I'm just going to go ahead and get the lift and take it down. As you can see underneath, the old AC was quite dirty, so I did have to clean this up. And the solar connector's junction box needed to be moved out of the way for the new AC, as it was larger than the GE unit. Here's a look from inside the van with the AC removed. Here you can see a comparison of the old AC and the new one, side by side. Now that I've got the roof cleaned up, I can move the AC into place and we can see how it fits. Here you can see that the AC did indeed touch the solar panel wiring junction box. So I did turn the junction box 180 degrees and it seemed to fit fine afterward. Good thing I already removed the wind guard, as it made the installation much easier. I did have to trim down the foam insert as my roof is not 3.5 inches thick. So I'm putting the mounting bracket on with the 4 screws in each corner. So I'm getting them in finger tight first, and then I'm grabbing the drill and putting them in nice and tight. Once you've got that done, you can then connect the 110 wiring. Okay, so I've got all the wire connected up and tucked away. So now it's just time to put the cover back on. Here's what it looks like finished. When I first turned it on, I measured the decibels to be just above 70, but after trimming the foam ducting down some more, the decibels went down to about 60 when it's in turbo mode. So here are my final thoughts on the Furrion Chill Cube. Let's start with the things that I liked. The installation was straightforward. I liked the low-profile interior air distribution box. The variable frequency drive compressor does prevent startup's power surges, and the variable frequency drive compressor does lower overall power consumption over time once the target temperature has been reached. There are a couple of things I was neutral on, like the roof unit is large and gear mode does reduce power consumption, but it also lowers the cooling capability of the AC. Now for the things that I didn't like. The AC interior foam ducting interfered with the fan blades, making the AC louder than it should have been. This may be because the AC requires a 3.5 to 6 inch roof thickness. The AC struggled to cool my van from 95 degrees to 75 degrees. The van was, however, in direct sunlight in my driveway, and it does not have the best insulation. However, the AC is also an 18,000 BTU unit. The roof unit seems to collect the condensation within the unit itself. It was not draining out of the unit. The remote control needs line of sight, and when it loses line of sight, the AC did not properly control the temperature within the van. The variable frequency drive compressor does not help reduce power consumption until it achieves the target temperature, which the AC was unable to do on hot 95-degree days. I did reach out to Furrion a couple days ago to review some of these issues that I have experienced, but unfortunately I have yet to hear back from them. So with all that said, I will be returning the Furrion Chill Cube and purchasing another AC. So make sure you're subscribed to see what I install next. So thank you so much for joining me today. Please do subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.